I started working at Natick Community Organic Farm when I was 11 years old. I was sent out to harvest zinnias, which are flowers, for bouquets, which I did extremely thoroughly by cutting every single one of those plants right to the ground, which means that we had no more zinnias for the rest of the summer. When I was 13, I was given more responsibility. One day, I was sent up to the garden with the farm's very large mower to cut the grass on the paths between the crops. And I thought I had things really under control until we got up to the garden and I realized that I had forgotten how to steer. Yeah. And when I was 16, I was asked to feed the animals on the weekends. One Saturday afternoon, I'm sitting in the barn on the milking stanchion, milking out the goat, when every single creature in the pasture went nuts. And I couldn't figure out why. It turned out the boar had gotten out. And he stuck his nose, and all 400 pounds of himself, in the front of the barn, and he looked at me, and he snorted. And then he turned around and started to trot happily down the driveway towards Route 16, followed by all 4 of our sows. Good times. Now let me tell you some more about our farm in case you're not familiar. We're in the suburbs here in Natick, on 27 acres of conservation land, sandwiched between an elementary school and a lot of really nice home lots. We have a beautiful timber frame barn, a recently renovated sugar shack, and a lot of buildings that were best described in style as DIY. We have woodlands and wetlands, pastures and a stream, and we have beautiful stone-free soil that's been drawing farmers to it like a magnet since 350 years ago and beforehand. We farm in the public eye. Our farm is open every day during daylight hours with no admission fee for visits and purchases. And over 21,000 people come every year to see it for that very reason. Parents bringing their toddlers, hundreds of school kids on curriculum-tied field trips, and scouting overnights, and summer programs and vacation programs. Cooks who know we have the best asparagus in town and grass-fed beef. Teens, dozens of teens looking for good-paying jobs, doing something other than running a cash register. Seniors who are looking to reminisce about childhood. And immigrants who are delighted to know that we have live chicken and a taste of home. We say that education is our #1 crop. We exist to show people that farms exist to produce food. Every crop and creature on a farm has a job to do. Chickens give us eggs, bees give us honey, pigs give us bacon and pork chops and ham bones and barbecue. We also exist to show people how to farm in harmony with nature, not against her. We farm organically. We take every food scrap and manure scrap, we make it back into compost, and we put it back on the land by the truckload. It's better for the soil, it's better for the plants, it's better for the people who work the soil, it's better for the environment. And we make fresh food accessible, beautiful, nutrient-dense, fresh food available to absolutely anybody who wants to come down and purchase it. We like to remind people that you are what you eat. That the freshest food you can get is your best option because it's the most nutritious. And the most nutritious food you can get is local food. The main thing we do, though, is we grow people by letting them get dirty and involved. We take everybody. And every day on the farm starts exactly the same way. If you're here on a day when you're going to pick beans, then you're going to pick beans. And if you're here on a day when we're going to shovel out the turkey coop, here's your shovel. We take everybody. We take the jocks and the theater kids and the young adults working towards their GEDs and the adults with multiple PhDs and the coaches and the job coaches, and we mush them all together doing work that is unfamiliar, unexpected, and at times unpleasant. Why? Because we need that work done. But the other reason why is because it levels the playing field and it gives them all common ground. So the farm teaches people where food comes from, but we also teach basic life skills. We teach people to think, to listen, to test, and to try, to work together, to figure out how to figure it out. Or as we like to say, when you have a question, first ask yourself, then ask a friend, then ask a farmer. That does save some questions. But what we're really good at doing is teaching people how to fail. Why? Because farms are incredibly complex places. One day, your lettuce is thriving. The next day, it's wilting and looks horrible. And those plants, they're not going to tell you why. What to do next has to be figured out. And that information is not born in anybody's heads. It has to be put there through trial and error, and usually by a front row seat in the school of hard knocks. But farms are really good for showing people what failure actually is, which is a moment when something did not actually go to plan. Being on a farm gives you an experience of being able to process those negative feelings that come with failing and then let them wash away. And then to be able to face it with new resolve, saying, I will now come up with a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Because it turns out that failure is just like anything else. You get better at it with practice. And we're better to practice than outdoors, under the sun, getting really sweaty, surrounded by farm animals and heavy farm equipment, but also surrounded by really accepting people who all also have failed, probably doing the exact same thing that you just did, maybe something worse, but only decades earlier, who help you learn to laugh at it. Our farm has helped grow so many people. Kids like James, who first came to our farm as a second grader with very little self-confidence and a whole lot of self-doubt. But where he fit in and where he found a community where his skills, which are working with his hands and running a chainsaw safely and being able to do tough physical work with a group of people and make it light and fun, are real considered assets. James used the farm to get through high school. He's now trying college. Today, he's a leader. We're talking about kids like Jackie, who first came to our farm with a job coach and turned into one of the most observant caretakers of animals that we've got. Jackie's so good that when she graduated out of her job coach program, she got a job with us, and she works with us independently and earns a paycheck. That's her getting her first paycheck right there. Jackie shows up for work every day on time with a smile on her face, ready to make a difference. And she models the behavior that we want to see in every worker we've got, and she raises the game. And it's kids like Henry who discover that they're extremely good at working with their hands and have a mechanical aptitude that I've never seen in a young person before. Henry, through high school, saved us thousands of dollars in tractors repair. He is now running a thriving small engine repair business out of his parents' garage during college vacation and summer days off. And yes, if you really need it, I will give you Henry's number. And kids like me, kids like me, but not just kids who want to farm, but but kids who go on to be plumbers and electricians and doctors and lawyers and yoga instructors and teachers and assistant professors and store clerks and journalists and CEOs. Community-minded people who understand the importance of people, place, and purpose. And yes, kids like me. That point, right? Okay, good. Who are still at the farm 37 years later. I know. And are now the adults who are the ones sending the kids out to pick the zinnias, giving instructions on that mower, telling everyone to round up the loose livestock, and providing basic instructions, permission to experiment, and permission to fail within reason. I'm the old lady of the farm now. It's my job to repeat the adages. Never walk with an empty hand. Need a job? Check the whiteboard. Unsure how to solve something? Ask yourself. Ask a friend, then ask a farmer. A lifetime of being around this farm has taught me so much. I've learned that you have to work with people even when you don't want to sometimes, and that sometimes you have to shovel poop. Sometimes it's proverbial poop of your own making. You have to own it. You have to fix it. You have to laugh at it. Natick Community Organic Farm does not work miracles for everybody. But for those of us who find ourselves there, and I mean find ourselves with a capital F and a capital O, it's a magical place. It's a place where we belong and we're always welcome. It's a place where we discover who we are and who we're meant to be, even if we're all works in progress. We have another saying at Natick Community Organic Farm: you never really leave the farm. In some cases, that's literal. But the reason we say it is this: because the farm and the life lessons it teaches you, you take those with you. Thank you.